It's outrageous enough that hundreds of illegal immigrants are preparing to cross the border from Tijuana into California this weekend and ask for political asylum. But perhaps even more outrageous is that this caravan of Central Americans has been organized, aided, and abetted and coached by U.S.-based activists from this group called Pueblos Sin Fronteras. Now, why have the media turned a blind eye to the role played by the group's project coordinator, Alex Mensing, who is also a program assistant at the University of San Francisco's Immigration Clinic? Well, let's get into that with a pair of immigration attorneys. Dan Stein is in Tampa, and Francisco Hernandez is in Fort Worth, Texas. Dan, let's start with you here. This is quite something. We have American NGOs and other NGOs working to get the publicity going for this group. They come every year around Easter time and they make their way into Mexico. Mexico usually disbands them quite effectively, and they actually started to disband them before I think the president started tweeting about it a couple weeks ago. But you have these lawyers who basically embed with the groups, who are American lawyers. And they're going over, okay, this is what you say for credible fear of persecution. And then they show up on buses, and then they all start reciting the same lines. I mean, it seems like it's encouraging people to game the system. Maybe that's a cynical view.
Laura, it's aiding and abetting. It's organized smuggling. I mean, the way the media make it sound like they think it's like a street fair. They're coming in for a festival, and then they're going back to Honduras. That's not what's happening. This is actually organized smuggling. Look, as long as the United States remains a free, capitalist, and open society, there will be millions of people around the world who would like to come here. But not everybody can come, and a sovereign nation like the U.S. has the right to control who comes into the country and who doesn't. Groups like People Without Borders do not subscribe to that idea. So this effort is part of an overarching organized effort we see across the world. We see it in Europe. We now see it in the Gaza with Israel. We see it all around the world to try to challenge Western societies to prevent them from using their immigration laws to stop this systemic organized smuggling under the banner of asylum. All the people coming in have been coached. And you know what? I feel sorry for the folks coming here. A lot of them look like really nice, good people. But the point is, if only refugees can get in, then everybody wants to be called a refugee. And so they get coached in. They know that if they make a credible fear claim, if there's no detention space, they're going to be released for years before they get the asylum hearing. And luckily, the Trump administration is taking steps to stop this by using a rocket docket and deploying immigration judges to extradite the removal.
Right, let's get Francisco in here. Francisco, Mexico has tried to help out here and at various points, including by, telling the folks, look, you have 30 days to leave Mexico. Like, you have 30 days. We'll give you a transit visa, and then you have to leave Mexico. So what their point is Mexican officials have said, if you want asylum, we'll give you asylum. I mean, but they have made it clear, and various sources have told me, that the Hondurans, overwhelmingly are Hondurans, don't want to be in Mexico. So they're not interested in going to any country except our country. Now, why is that?
Except the promised land. But look, listen to what you guys are saying. Are we now against legal immigration? Asylum law is a legal process by which these folks can apply to come in. They either have proof or they don't. You can't coach proof, but they're trying to come in under a legal process. That is our law. They're not coming across. There's no smuggling. There's no illegal entry into the United States. They're applying to come into the United States legally. Isn't that what we wanted? And you know what? If there's 400 of them right there at the border, maybe President Trump can bring them some bricks and we can start building the wall.
Well, I think since we spend about $116 billion all told on illegal immigration, when you add that up, that would be how many walls? Like 5 walls for $116 billion a year?
Well, I thought we were talking about legal immigration.
Yeah, well, no, we're talking about people who come here illegally in the United States. And many of the people who've been interviewed said,
but no.
And the people, well, hold on, who have disbanded from the group say, we're going to get there. Like, we're going to get there. If we don't get in as asylees, we're going to get in. I mean, they're look, they're
but
very
that's not
adamant.
Illegal immigration.
No,
but that's not illegal immigration.
Francisco,
they are invoking the asylum laws that is the law of the land.
Francisco, are you saying that you don't believe there is fraud in the asylum application of the asylum laws in the United States?
Sure,
is that
what
you're saying tonight?
Sure, there is fraud.
It's
sure
rampant. It's rampant.
And immigration is very good at ferreting it out. You can't coach proof. The problem here is,
What do you
is that
think
we
proves
do
it?
have to some
Francisco,
point
you're not
face
putting
the
on
fact.
witnesses. Whoa, hold on. You're not putting on. Well, you know this. You're an immigration attorney.
Right.
Do you
Who's
think
going to
you think
determine
the
credible fear?
24-year-old mother
Yes.
of three is putting on
who's
witnesses?
going to determine?
Okay, here's my documents. Oh, they don't have any documents? What are you talking about?
Miss Ingram, who's going to
Laura.
determine
You've been
credible
knowing me
fear?
for years.
But the U.S. agents. It's the Trump administration's agents that are going to determine whether these people can prove immediate fear. It's not like there's all these social programs going out. It is a hard threshold to prove, and it is a legal way
That's
of invoking the laws of the United States.
Like, I think it's 75 to 93% of people who apply for asylum in this process, they ultimately get it, or they ultimately get released anyway during the process. So they're released into the United States.
No, it's less than 10%.
No, they get released into this. Dan, do they not get released after they've applied for asylum into the United States?
First of all, the first standard is what's called credible fear. It's a very low threshold. All you have to say is, "I'm afraid to go home." They can request a hearing before an immigration judge. The problem is the cases get backlogged. They get released into the society. They're here for years.
Yeah.
They never. I wish I had $1 for every alien who, after doing a credible fear claim, doesn't show up for the immigration hearing. I wish I had $1 for every time an alien who's ordered deported doesn't show up for their deportation, or $1 for every. I mean, it goes on and on and on.
As a separate matter, hold on one second.
This is a massive mess. I mean, we have a massive mess on our hands.
Change the law, then fix the law.
Which the Trump administration is trying to change the law.
Yeah, Francisco, you're
why don't the
absolutely
three of us
right.
go down
Guys,
the border and check this out?
Hold on. Francisco, I'm saying you're absolutely right. These laws do need to be changed because the way the asylum laws are written now it's easily gameable. Okay, if that's even a word. It's easily gamed, and it does have to be changed. Well, hold on. It does have to be changed because it's actually putting the migrants' lives at risk. You have these kids crossing that are being manipulated, and they're being hurt by these gangs and recruited by gangs. This is a humanitarian nightmare that we've helped create. So we've got to fix these laws.
God bless you. Thank you for saying that. That is absolutely 100% correct.
By the way, just a fact for our audience, and we're running over. This just came out today by the federal government. The federal government loses track of 20% of the unaccompanied children within 3 months of their arriving here. This was HHS testimony today. They've lost track of 7,635 unaccompanied children that they had to check in with over the last 3 months, the last 3 months of last year. They lost track of 1,500 of those after 30 days.
And Laura,
we don't know where they are.
In the meanwhile, Congress is still sitting there doing nothing.
Many of the people who say that they're fleeing are actually, they say they're fleeing gang violence, but in fact, a lot of these unaccompanied minors are recruited by gang MS-13 in this country.
All right, we're out of time.
We have a direct relationship between gang violence and illegal immigration.
We've agreed on something.
At the border next week. I'll meet you at the border.
Hey, Francisco, we're going to go to. And the tequila shots are on me, okay? It's all on me. I'll buy drinks.
You're on.
I'll buy drinks for everybody.